everyone. I know it's kind of late. Welcome in, welcome in. Please excuse how my eyes is looking. They red and they puffy. Like, I don't know what's going on. It's my allergies. But anyway, welcome in, everyone. Good evening. I know it's a little bit late. Um, but I had to come on here tonight. I was trying to hold off on coming on, but when I saw this, I had to go on here and come on in because it's a tragedy and it's heartbreaking. Um, I guess we can see going across my screen. My screen at the bottom, my ticker. We're talking about Julian Guzman, 11-year old, Houston, Texas, was playing ding dong ditch with his cousin late at night. They had been at a family gathering, and the boys will be boys. We know that. They got bored, decided let's go have some fun in the neighborhood. Why? I mean, I understand that a family get together, those can run kind of late. I get that. Was was nobody looking at these boys, seeing them run off? I mean, I'll get back to that in a minute though. But what ended up happening, him and his 10-year-old cousin decided they were gonna go off, run around the neighborhood, play ding dong ditch. They had been out about 4 hours, and it was about 11 or so, 11 p.m. or so by the time they knocked on this gentleman's door for about the third and fourth time. I want to say it was about the third time. And they knocked on this gentleman's door and they attempted to run off this time. But unfortunately, they didn't make it to leave because this guy came from the shadows. Because after they had did it a couple times, he got up and went outside, and he was in the shadows waiting for them this last time. And when they did it and took off, he shot one shot, according to the little boy that was with Julian, his cousin that was with him. He shot one time into the ground, and then he shot again, and the second shot connected, and it hit Julian in his back, and he collapsed there. His cousin tried to get him up and get him away, but he was unsuccessful. Paramedics and police and everything came, and the baby was rushed to the hospital, but this 11-year-old didn't make it. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. Now, when I first was reading into this, when everything comes out, and again, it comes out in pieces. And so when this first came out, the first information that I saw on it was that it just said 11-year-old playing ding dong ditch. The man shot him in his back, and he passed away. And then I saw where they said the man had got arrested. So I'm like, okay, police must got something that's showing him something for him to be got arrested this quick. Because it didn't take long for them to take him in custody at all. And then I saw where when they took him into custody, he wasn't even at his house, and they went to serve the warrant, the search warrant and the arrest warrant. Him and his wife had packed up. They wasn't even at the house. Now nobody knows why they packed up and left when they did. Nobody knows. We just know that this baby was hurt. I promise I know about my background, y'all. That's my son picture up on the wall. Y'all keep right there. That's my son. His senior year. He just graduated last year, but this will keep popping up, y'all. Y'all seeing it. But back to what I was saying. I didn't want people to get creeped out by this incident popping up like somebody sitting there watching or something. But let me share my screen so we can I can give y'all this information that, because I've been seeing little bits and pieces coming out, and I kind of put it together from gathering things to give everybody one space to see everything together so we can make our opinions based on all the information that's out so far. Okay. So first thing first, as we can see here and I got this from Greasy's Hood News on Facebook. She's a reporter out there. She's not affiliated specific with that I know of with any news station, but I'm gonna give her credit because I did get this information from her page. So she posted, this is the 11-year-old here, Julian Guzman, and this is the shooter. And his name is, I had his name, hold on, Gonzalo Leon Jr. Okay, so we have Julian Guzman, who 11 years old, shot in the back. This is the shooter. Um, Gonzalo Leon Jr. So these is the people that were involved. So they didn't name the 10-year-old cousin that was with Judy. He's just named as JG. So apparently his first name and last name, he has the same initials as his cousin because his cousin is listed. The child that's deceased, Julian, is Julian Guzman. So I'm assuming the cousin has the same last name and the first name that starts with a J because they're both listed in the document as JG. Anyway, and this is 11-year-old Julian. This is the shooter, Gonzalo Leon Jr. And so what happened, like I said, they was playing Ding Dong Ditch. Childhood game we've all played as kids, run through the neighborhood, ring a doorbell, or knock on the door and run. Now, the thing, as I said, everything has been coming out in pieces. So the first thing I got was this image, and I got the information that, one quick minute. Exodus full, Exodus full screen, so camera count. There we go. Sorry about that, my allergies tearing me up. Okay, so this baby here, Julian Guzman, Gonzalo Leon Jr. was arrested. Like I said, and it first came out because my mom brought it to my attention because she saw it first. Because that's how we go. If I see something, I'm gonna tell my mom gonna discuss it, or she gonna tell me we're gonna discuss it. So she brought this to me because I hadn't saw it yet, because I hadn't been watching TV or anything like that. But she brought this to me. She's like, "Did you see the little boy got shot in the back playing ding dong ditch, ring the doorbell? He got shot." I'm like, "No, I didn't see it. I got to look into that." So when I looked into it, first thing I saw was it. The ding dong ditch ring doorbell. He shot two shots. So I'm like, okay. Because I was leaning towards, because I saw something also in Reese's post, after she made the post and she posted the documents from the court, there was a comment asking what was her take on it. And this is what she wrote. Last week I shared a video of a teenager kicking on the Pete's door, and he even busted the door open, and people were downplaying his actions. A few days later, literally within days of her posting the video of them kicking, and I'm gonna go play that video too. I'm gonna go on her page. It says a few days later, this little boy gets killed playing that same game. This man is taken into custody. Now, some people are outraged and some defend the homeowner. We've been trying to warn people that this could result in something very deadly, and look, it happened. I feel like this is a tragedy all the way around. I don't know what this man's mind frame was. You don't shoot people in the back. When you have a gun and you shoot at someone, at somebody who is not posing threats to you, there will be consequences. Which I agree, there should be consequences because he shot the little boy was already running. I agree there should be consequences. But my thing is, should he be thrown in jail and given the death penalty, thrown in jail and saying you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison? We got to take a look at it from all aspects. Yes, it was an innocent childhood game that they were playing, ringing doorbells and running off. But mind you, they had been out there 4 hours because there's some more information that came out. I'm trying because I was looking at the. It might not have been on news. I might have to go back. Okay, yeah. So His comment right here, Captain Danny, he wrote, I am gonna get a bunch of hate for this. They did it several times at his house before the guy lost it. It was 11 p.m. What's a 10-year-old doing out there late? They have been doing it for over 4 hours at several houses. Sometimes military guys feel like they're being ambushed and react PTSD. I don't want any child to go out like this, but there has to be some parents make a decision. Once again, don't hate the message. See, they go and then they go on to continue to talk about how on TikTok it's a trend where these kids not only ringing the doorbell or knocking, but they going so far as to kicking the door to make it seem like the police or somebody's kicking your door in. Now, I'm not saying that these two little boys were doing that much, but it's become like I said, they just took a childhood game, a game that we all played as children, and turned it into something very dangerous. And then you have to remember, like they said, this man was military. Somebody said he was military. I have to confirm that. I haven't confirmed it yet. But someone was saying that this man was military. If this man was military, think about this. Military people suffer from PTSD. We don't if he was military, we don't know how long he was in the military or any of that. This man could have been, like I said, he could have been a vet. I don't know because I haven't been able to confirm. But think about this: this man could have been in the military 10, 15 years, and you hear somebody on your door, whether it's ringing a doorbell, whether it's knocking, whether it's kicking, we don't know. Well, I think the police said they know because they said they got a video. I'm gonna go to that in a minute too. Not play the video, but go to what the detective said. But they said these babies were just ringing the doorbell and running. But they had did it several times. They had been out here over 4 hours in this neighborhood, knocking on several doors and ringing doorbells at several houses. So again, 11 o'clock at night, so it's dark outside. They done did it a couple of times already, and they run back to his door again. And this time he's outside. He decided I'm gonna go outside and see what's going on. This man, from what I heard, from what I've read, they're saying that this man is military. If this man is military, we got to think about this from his point of view. Not saying I'm excusing his behavior because if the baby was running away when he got shot, he was wrong. He was definitely in the wrong. But what I'm saying is, we don't know what people's mind frames are. We don't know what weapons people got. So to be running up on people's houses, ringing doorbells, kicking doors, what have you, whatever you're doing, it's dangerous. And we need to teach our children about this. Yeah, it's no longer just a little safe childhood game anymore. It's been took a turn from that a long time ago when these kids started getting on social media and turning into something totally different. We don't know what this man's mind frame was. We hear somebody keep knocking on his door, ringing his doorbell. We don't know. Like they were saying in the comments, PTSD is very real for our military men and women, for our veterans. We don't know who's in the house when we ring the doorbell or knock on the door. We have to teach our children, you know, I understand you think this might be harmless, but you don't know what you could be walking into. It's no longer a harmless childhood game. It has become much, much more. Um, but back to what. So the news, because I was just on it. And I was on his side. Like as y'all can see, I was on his side. I was leaning more towards, okay, yeah, he did wrong, but there may be some extenuating circumstances. So. And then, I was saying, we never know, you knocking on people's doors. So, like I was saying, they were saying he's military. So, I'm like, okay, he might have been PTSD, who knows? But then I go to start looking up, doing my research, because I don't go by what people tell me or what I see. I do my own research to see what is going to come out. So, while we waiting on this ad, then I come over here to this news article from CBS News. And the first thing it says is the man charged in the deadly shooting of an 11-year-old Texas boy was waiting in the shadows as the child and his cousin played a ding dong ditch prank on his Houston home, police said. The suspect followed the boys as they ran away before he opened fire, according to Houston Police Sergeant Michael Cass. the lead detective on the case. So here.
Year-old boy in Houston after what's being called on the shooting death of an 11-year-old boy in Houston after what's being called a ding-dong ditch prank. The man who allegedly shot the boy has now been charged with murder.
The police say the suspect went after the boy and shot him in the back after the child knocked on his door and ran. We know more now about the suspect, including what the police found in his house and his car. Karen Waugh is in Houston.
42-year-old Gonzalo Leon Jr. was arrested and charged with the murder of 11-year-old Julian Guzman. Leon appeared in court today for the first time. Police say the suspect, an Army veteran, opened fire on two boys in this East Houston neighborhood. The boys, 10 and 11-year-old cousins, were knocking and ringing doorbells late Saturday night. After Guzman knocked on Leon's front door, police say Leon shot the boy in the back and killed him.
They weren't out being bad kids. They were doing a few slight knocks and running and giggling and hiding around the corner.
Sergeant Michael Cass is the lead detective on this case.
They're really petite, small kids. There's no way any homeowner could think or believe that these were grown men trying to harm anybody.
Investigators recovered more than 20 guns from Leon's home, along with smoke grenades.
The person that we have in custody and arrested for murder was waiting in the backyard watching in the shadows. After they knocked, they just ran way down the street. Almost a block away, they look back and they see they're being followed by an unknown man.
Cass says Leon has a prior history of threats, but was never charged. Police say they found the suspect and his wife at a location east of Houston.
Do you think this man tried to escape?
I don't know if they're going to try to leave town, but in my opinion, it's weird that the day that we're coming to serve an arrest warrant, your car's packed and you got a 3-day stay at a hotel room outside of Houston.
Now, there is a bond hearing confirmed for the suspect tomorrow. And as for the boy's family, his mom says in an online fundraiser, she wants justice for her son.
We see you.
So to me, like I said, I wanted to get my facts. So at first, I read that on Grease's page, and again, shout out to Grease's Hood News. She got there in Texas, and she covered a lot of this and a lot of other stories in Texas. Off her page, she just put, she didn't jump to any conclusions or anything like that. She put the facts up there. In her comment, I noticed somebody mentioned military. So I said, okay, let me go to do my research, see what the police have said. Boom. First article I go to, they say he was waiting in the shadows. Like, I was empathetic to the man, you know, when I saw military and I saw PTSD, and then I get to the news article, and the first thing they say is he was waiting in the shadows. And when they rang the door, well, not even rang the door, but they knocked. When they knocked on the door and took off running, he ran from out his backyard from where he was watching them at and chased them down. Like, they was already, like the police detective said, they was a block away. So they wasn't even nowhere near front of his house no more. They had to run on down. He came out of his yard and followed them down before he opened fire. And they were running away. So my thing is, call the police. Tell the police, hey, these kids out here knocking on my door this late at night. Can you get somebody out here to get them on in the house? You know, them would have sufficed. He didn't have to open fire. I was on his side, and I was like, okay, they was out here playing ding dong ditch. Because me and my husband, he was discussing. He was like, what side, who you advocating for? I'm like, okay, well, I don't know yet, but it seems like, you know, we don't know what the circumstances were besides them saying the 11-year-old boy and his cousin was playing ding dong ditch and he got shot. So I'm like, I don't know what side I'm advocating for, you know. But then as I'm starting doing my research and more started coming out, now I'm starting to realize this one just, they knocked on the door and he stepped outside from his front door and shot, and they was running off and the boy got shot in the back as he was standing on his porch at his yard. This was him in the backyard after they did it several times. He said, okay, I'm going to my backyard and then wait and see them come back. And when they came back, he decided, instead of him picking up the phone and calling the police, he decided, I'm going to take the law in my own hands. And now he's charged with murder. You know, people were outraged on one end that he was charged. Some, you know, other people outraged on the other side. Hey, he shot the boy. I'm on the side of he did not have to shoot. It was other ways to deal with it. It was going out there waiting in the shadows and shooting. And they said he was in the yard in the side, like the back side of his house, behind a fence, watching. And he actually let them ring the doorbell or knock on the door and get off the porch and run down the street before he even came out. They was down the street already. And like I said, they had already knocked on his door a couple of times, and they went back, and it was the third time. And they did the third time is when he shot. And then the little boy, and then what called him up too, is he didn't know that they was recording themselves, and the little boy that he shot actually was recording the video. And so in the video, the police can see him knocking on the door and running, and then they heard the shot and heard him on the ground gasping. And he's 42. Gonzalo Leon Jr. He's 42, and he's been charged for murder. Looking to the Harris County Jail, and he go to court tomorrow. Wednesday. And he is an Army veteran. He was deployed at one point, and he spent time in reserves at one point. And as y'all heard in the video, they got a handgun plus 20 other firearms, along with tactical and also smoke grenades were found. So this man had an arsenal of weapons in the house. An arsenal of firearms. And when they got him, he wasn't at home for somebody. If he felt like, oh, I didn't do nothing, I'm innocent, I'm gonna defend myself, he wouldn't have ran off. But this man ran off. He was at a hotel, had booked a hotel for 3 days, but then he also had his car packed full of stuff, him and his wife. So he was running. He was about to be on the run. So if you felt like you didn't do nothing wrong, you wouldn't have left on the run. So yeah, I was kind of leaning on his side, but then I came back to, well, wait a minute. When like I said, I'm still doing my research. I'm still putting up stuff. And then this here says, I think this is the cousin describing. Okay, this is an ad.
Shared Dreams program. For the past 37
So the shooting happened on August the 30th. And he was arrested yesterday on September the 1st. And then now they also saying that they want to upgrade him. So right now he's just charged for murder. They want to upgrade his charge to capital murder. So they're saying that, and it was an intentional and knowing act. It wasn't reckless, just shot the gun and the accidental shot. No, this was intentional. He intentionally shot the gun at these boys, and he struck this little boy in his back. Let's see. I pulled this up too in Texas. I want to. Sure did. Penal code for this for statutes in Texas. I'm on statutes.cal.texas.gov. If anybody wants to look at it for themselves, and we can see. Okay, hold on. Let me go back one. Types of homicide in Texas. Texas law distinguishes between different types of homicide: capital murder, manslaughter, criminally negligent homicide. Okay. He was booked on murder, which is defined as causing the death of an individual while committing or attempting to commit a felony or an immediate flight for such an act. The DA is saying he want to upgrade it to capital murder, which is a severe form of murder with the harshest penalties, often involving factors like murder for profit or killing multiple people. So now we go back to then this part down here before I go back to the page. Key factors in defining murder. Fact, intent. For conviction, intent to kill or the commission of a felony that causes death is a key factor. Felony murder rule. Committing or attempting to commit a felony can lead to a murder charge if an individual death occurs in the process. Aggravating factors. Certain circumstances, such as the murder of a police officer or a victim under a certain age, can elevate a standard murder charge to a more serious charge. So then, and in Texas, it says the most serious homicide charge is capital murder, meaning it's essentially what other states call first degree murder. We should note that when discussing capital murder versus first degree murder, Texas typically does not use the term first degree murder at all. So yeah, so in Tennessee, it will be classified as first degree murder. In the state of Texas, they don't give their degrees like first degree, second degree, third degree. They don't do that. And this one, it carries the sentence that it carries, the possible penalties that it carries for capital murder is either the death penalty or life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Harshest penalty they can get for this, then this is the highest grade of murder that can charge in Texas. To be charged with capital murder in Texas, it must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant intentionally and knowingly caused the death of another who's acting under lawful duty, or that the victim was under the age of 10. So he's not under the age of 10. He's right there over because he's 11. But I think they're saying other circumstances, along, even though he is 11, other circumstances they consider mitigating circumstances. Okay. Then there's also one last part. Those who were paid to commit murder, paying another to commit murder, or trying to escape a penal institution may also be charged with capital murder. So in his instance, they're going to look at those aggravated circumstances. But we'll get back to that in a minute. Then you have murder, which is a step down from capital murder. You have murder. In the state of Texas, second degree murder is referred to simply as murder. So again, they don't classify it as a first degree, second degree, third degree. No, they go from capital murder, which in any other state or in most other states is classified as first degree, down to just murder, which is second degree in other states. But in Texas, it's simply murder. Okay. Second degree murder charges, as defined by penal code, still require intent on the part of the accused and can be filed when a person intentionally or knowingly causes the death of an individual. A person intends to cause serious bodily injury and commits an act that causes the death of an individual, or a person causes the death of an individual during the commission or attempted commission of a felony. So that's why they hit him with murder first. This is the one they know for sure he violated. This is the one he for sure violated this penal code right here. But again, the DA saying, I want to up it to capital murder. We're going to go for the grand jury and see can we get them indicted on capital murder instead. So right now they book them. Because they can book you and say, this is what we're looking with. But they go before the grand jury and say, this is what we have. This is what we want to charge, but this is what we bring before y'all. Are y'all going to say yes, or y'all going to, say no? And so in this instance, the DA saying we're going before the grand jury, and I'm tending to file it as capital murder on my indictment to see if the grand jury is going to go through with the indictment or they going to no bill it and say, no, we can't take it to trial on no capital murder. And then the step down from, so we go from capital murder to manslaughter. So this is something else that Texas pay attention. While some states distinguish between voluntary and involuntary manslaughter, Texas combines both under a single manslaughter statute. So again, when we get down to manslaughter, like you said, here, and I'm gonna give Tennessee for example. You can get a voluntary or involuntary manslaughter charge here in Tennessee. In Texas, they don't do one or the other. Excuse me, it's just straight up manslaughter. Okay. The distinction often lies in whether you acted in the heat of passion or through reckless behavior. So that's how they distinguish it. They don't put it as, oh, you committed involuntary manslaughter or you committed voluntary. No, they say, did you do it in the heat of passion or was it just reckless behavior? However, you could, and as you can see, the penalties is the same, whether they say it was in the heat of passion or you was reckless. The penalties remain the same. They don't say, oh, you get 2-3 years, up to 10 years for this one, and then you get 5 to 12 or something like that for this. No, it's the same penalty whether you get convicted for heat of passion or whether you get convicted for reckless behavior. And then it says, unlike murder charges, manslaughter does not require the prosecution to prove that you intended to cause death or serious bodily injury. Instead, manslaughter in Texas occurs when a person recklessly causes the death of another individual, like in the case of intoxication manslaughter. So basically, if you was drunk, if I'm not mistaken, if you was drunk and you caused the wreck, they can charge you with this manslaughter. It's what it. Don't quote me on that, dog. I gotta look that up. Let me click on. Okay, so yeah, I was right. I just wanted to get it, make sure I quoted on my stuff. So intoxication manslaughter occurs when you driving a vehicle while you intoxicated, and because of that, you cause a wreck and somebody die in that. When you drive drunk and you hit a pedestrian and they die, that's intoxication manslaughter in Texas. Okay, now back to what we were looking at. To be charged with manslaughter in Texas, it must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt that you acted recklessly, meaning you. Let me come right here. I'm across the computer. To be charged with manslaughter in Texas, it must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt that you acted recklessly, meaning consciously disregarding substantial and unjustifiable risk that death will occur as a result of your conduct. A classic example would be someone who drives at excessive speeds and causes a fatal accident. Manslaughter is charged in a second-degree felony in Texas, punished by 2 to 20 years in prison and a fine of up to $10,000. Like I was saying, they don't do that. Okay, this is involuntary. You can go from 2 to 8, and then this is involuntary. You can go up to no. They don't do that. And then also up here, when you go back up under the murder, it was saying second degree murder. It still requires intent on the part of the person that's accused. And down here it says murder can sometimes be charged as a second degree felony if it can be proven that the act was a crime of passion. Crimes of passion are actually called sudden passion in Texas, and they are actually affirmative defense to a crime. This means that your attorney will argue that although you did commit the crime of homicide, it was because of sudden passion that rendered you unable to fully reflect on your actions. So say for instance somebody walked in their house and their wife was in the bed with another man and they fired off some shots and somebody ended up dying from one of them shots. The lawyer can argue this was in the heat of passion, sudden passion. They walked in, their wife was having an affair. Or they in a car, they argue, one of them hop out the car and the other one's still driving, and boom. Because I've seen this happen where a lady ran over a man and she was charged and she ended up being able to get it lowered down to a heat of passion charge. But back to this. So it says first degree felonies are punishable by 5 to 99 years or life in prison and fine up to 10,000. Affirmative defense of sudden passion usually means the charge is dropped to a second degree felony, which is punished by 2 to 20 punishable by 2 to 20 years in jail and a fine of up to 10,000. Can you tell us the penalty? Okay, can you tell us the penalty? Oh, yeah, it said carries the most severe possible penalty, which is death penalty or life in prison without possibility of parole. And so manslaughter, let me see. So yeah, sudden passion, if they can get it to plead to sudden passion, it carries the same sentence as if it was a manslaughter. So basically, they plead it down from that murder, basically second degree murder, all the way down to manslaughter, and end up getting between 2 to 20 years in prison and then fine. Criminally negligent homicide. A criminally negligent homicide in Texas represents the lowest level of criminal homicide charges. When comparing criminally negligent homicide versus manslaughter, the key difference lies in your state of mind. Unlike manslaughter, where a person is aware of but disregards the risk, criminally negligent homicide occurs when a person should have been aware of a substantial and unjustifiable risk that death will result from their conduct but fail to perceive it. For example, leaving a loaded firearm within reach of small children who then cause a fatal accident. To be charged with criminally negligent homicide in Texas, prosecutors must prove that your failure to perceive the risk constitute a gross deviation from the standard of care that an ordinary person would exercise. So in his case, I could see his lawyer trying to argue for the criminally negligent homicide, saying he shot, but he didn't really want to kill them. He just was shooting to scare them or something like that. But I don't think it's going to fly unless he got a doggone good lawyer that can go in there and pull a Johnny Cochran. Well, Johnny Cochran pulled for O.J. Simpson, but that's for another day. But yeah, he got to have a darn good lawyer that's gonna go in there and pull him one of them moves, a Perry Mason move or something. Us people from my time didn't know about Perry Mason. Though. Anyway, and then this gives another breakdown how many types of homicides out there. Under Texas law, criminal homicide is divided into 4 distinct classifications based on the circumstances and intent of the crime. Criminally negligent homicide, state jail felony, $10,000 maximum fine, 180 days to 2 years in jail. Manslaughter, second degree felony, $10,000 fine, 2 to 20 years in prison. Murder, first degree felony, 10,000 fine, up maximum 5 to 99 years or life in prison. Capital murder, capital felony, $10,000 fine, maximum and life in prison or the death penalty. And so as we can see, Texas, when they come to their laws, baby, going down there, Texas, getting in trouble, I feel for you. If you're down there shooting off a gun and you kill somebody, and you're driving a car reckless and you kill somebody, the charges down there in Texas hold weight, and the penalties hold weight. And so looking at this case of this man, if we go in Greens, let's go on her comment. 1.2K comments. Let's look at her comments for a second. Share this one. It was a lot of people was commenting in here, and some people was blaming the parent. Some people were saying he shouldn't have been out there late. Some people was, saying, hey, this man military, he probably got PTSD. They coming up with reason. What y'all don't know is y'all giving this man all the ammunition he needs for his defense. We're gonna hear about it when this finally do go to trial. If it do end up going to trial, y'all giving this man defensive lawyer all the ammunition he needs, all to lower these from a capital murder all the way down to where this man won't possibly do number 2 years in jail. That's what y'all doing. Because in the comment, it said, parents will have to live with allowing their 11-year-old to be outside doing this after dark. The shooter will have to live with take the life of the 11-year-old. We'll see what happens, assuming it goes to trial. I'd like to hear his side of the story. Also, if that 11-year-old had been doing this on the regular, don't be surprised if the jury does not convict. Was the homeowner's door damaged? Did he have reason to fear any home invasion? We don't know. Again, we don't know that man's mind frame. And then, like this person here says in the news video, there are obvious dents in the door. I'm not saying the kids did it, but if they did, it took lots of strength and would scare most people. Like you, I'm not saying the suspect is innocent. He's wrong and will definitely get time, but you also can't just think kicking doors, scaring people that lady's okay either. Plus, the suspect has a wife and a little girl. They were probably all scared. And see, this the one that I keep saying. No, I hate that it happened, but I have to agree with you. The fact that he saw them running away. So I'm just saying, was the shooting necessary? And to me, the shooting wasn't necessary. Once they was gone, there was no need to follow them to shoot. That's where I'm stuck at. And this was having me like, okay, I understand he's military. He's an army veteran. He was deployed, so he didn't serve his country because he'd been deployed, but he also was in the reserves too. But he's a military veteran, army veteran. We don't know if this man had PTSD. We don't know what this man witnessed. We don't know where he went, where he was deployed at. We don't know none of that. So for people, so we can't speak to his mind frame during that time. The one thing we can speak to is the legalities of everything. What the law gonna look at. Was it necessary for him to shoot? Was there a threat to him or his home or his family that he needed to shoot? You even got people now coming out saying, hey, you got to stand your ground, a council doctrine. I'm going to look at that too in just a second. It says the documents say that his wife and toddler were in the home at the time, and then he fired shots standing next to the stop sign in front of his home. That's past the sidewalk and nowhere near his front door. Correct. If he was protecting his family, he would have stayed in the doorway and done so. Leaving the security of your home in this situation with a woman and child outside to go into the street to shoot at someone is far from self-defense, and the council law has nothing to do with this any longer. He chose to leave his wife and kid unprotected inside, most likely with the door wide open while he crossed his on the sidewalk and fired at kids running away. And see this lady right here, she says, I would tell you that these kids in our neighborhood go around kicking the door so hard it sounds like it's coming off the hinges. Sometimes they don't even ring the doorbell. They just bang on the door so hard. It sounds like someone is coming through the door. I'm not speaking about this situation, but this is a dangerous prank and has become a big TikTok sensation. I encourage all parents to educate their children on not going onto others' property ever to do such and act like this. Selling Girl Scout cookies is one thing. Banging on the door so hard and kicking it so hard that it's coming off the hinges is not okay. I'm so sorry for the loss of this young kid. It's hard, but I would hate to think something like this would happen to one of my grandkids. But of course, I would teach my grandchildren not to invade other people's property and never ever beat on someone's door so hard that it sounds like it's coming off the hinge. And see, that's what I'm saying. We don't know, like, no, the kid was small, him and his cousin, because the baby on the picture, if you look at the picture, he don't even look that big. His frame don't even look that big. So I don't think they kicked that man door that hard to dick, because they don't, you know, where it even says they kicked it, because they was recording themselves doing it, and the police clearly see that they knocked on his door and ran about 3 times, and on the third time when they went to his door and knocked is when he shot. So I'm not going to hold the dent in the door. I'm not going to say the babies did that, because clearly the police said they got the video and they see they just was knocking. Each time they went to the door, they just knocked. And now again, speaking to what his mind frame could be, this man is military. We know a lot of military veterans deal with PTSD. We don't know this man's mind frame when they knocked on his door. Could have, and to people that got PTSD, especially our military veterans, the slightest bang, the slightest knock scares them. It triggers them. So they could have knocked, not realizing how hard they was knocking, and to him it sounded worse than what it was. We don't know, and I'm not sitting here defending him. But what I'm just saying is I'm speaking to what his defense attorney is going to be bringing up if this happens to go to trial. If they don't manage to plead this down to their him and his lawyer's satisfactory, and it goes to trial. These are the things that his lawyer is going to bring up. Everything that I'm saying about them knocking, his PTSD, them not realizing they was knocking as hard, him taking it, it sounded a harder knock than what it was. These are things that his lawyer is going to come up with and is going to say, if this happens to go to trial, if they're not able to plead this down to something that they're satisfied with, we know it's going to go to trial then at that point. But this is all points that his lawyer's going to make. And see, this is what I was speaking to earlier. She said, sadly, this young child lost his life, but at the same time, my child would not have been out there late unless he was at someone's home and they allowed him to go out. This prank is this prank is not how it was back in the day where they just knocked or rang the doorbell and took off, no banging or kicking the door when anyone would think it's something else. Where anyone would think it's something else, because a homeowner causing a homeowner to react from freaking out, especially that late. My prayers will go out to the family, and I agree with that. Like I was saying, because I was just saying this earlier, you know, back when we used to play ding dong ditch, Lord, I'm making myself sound old, telling my age. But back when we used to play ding dong ditch back in the day in our little neighborhood, knock on a door, run, ring a doorbell, run. It was nothing. You didn't make nobody think you was breaking in their house by knocking so doggone loud or kicking on their door. You do that, of course people gonna think you're trying to break in their house. And nowadays, hearing somebody beat like that or hearing a kick on your door, you automatically gonna go in there somebody trying to come to my house mode and be ready to fire your gun off or something like that. That's understandable. But in this instance, the police got the video because these babies was recording on phones. This little boy had his phone, and the police say they knocked and ran, knocked again, ran. Third time they knocked and ran. He had already came out and was in his bush because they seen where he came out from. So it says an 11-year-old child is dead over a prank. A silly, annoying, harmless prank. Ding dong ditch. That's what kids do. They push boundaries, act wild, try to be funny, and for that he was murdered. Spray them with a water hose. Scare them in the bushes with a Halloween mask. Tear them off. Call their parents. But you do not take a child's life because you're annoyed or angry. That's not self-defense. That's court. To the adults, if you're so fragile that a prank sends you reaching for a weapon, you're the danger, not the kid. To the parents, talk to your kids. Teach them respect. Teach them boundaries. Don't let them run the streets terrorizing neighbors. Not everyone out there is safe, and sadly, not everyone has the patience or heart a child deserves. No child should lose their life for acting like a child. This should never have happened. And I totally agree, it should not have happened. But at the same time, once again, we got to look at it from all points of view. Nothing that I'm saying here is me saying he was supposed to shoot, or I agree with him shooting. I said that from the beginning, that shooting was unnecessary. There were other options and other routes he could have went, other options. He did not have to pull a firearm and shoot, especially when he knew it was two small children. So they had knocked more than once. I'm quite sure he knew that it was small children out there when he watched them walk up. At the same time, like she said, why is an 11-year-old and a 10-year-old out after 11 o'clock at night? And they had been out there, people say, for about 4 hours in the neighborhood playing ding dong ditch. So they had been out there, if it was 11, 8, 9. So they had been out there since about 8 o'clock or so, doing this, running around, shooting. I mean, not Lord, excuse me, ringing doorbells, knocking on doors, and running. They had been out there 3, 4 hours at this point because it's 11 o'clock. Did they not miss these boys? Did they miss it from this barbecue? Your husband in the bathroom. One second. Your husband in the bathroom. Hold on 1 second. He was finna get in the shower. Let me see if he got in there already. I'm down. You already in the shower, babe? Oh, okay. When you get, huh? Okay. You might have to use that bathroom, right? I'm back. I'm back. So what I was saying is this comment right here. She hit the nail on the head. It's no, and ding dong ditch is used to be this little harmless little game, but it's no longer this little harmless little game because you have these teenagers now, not the little kids, the 8, 9, 10 year old, but the teenagers that took it to a whole new level because they go to people's houses banging on the door like so hard to the door rattling like it's gonna pop open and they kicking it so hard that, and let me see something because she said Greaser said she shared it on her page the video of them somebody kicking a door in not too long ago. Let's see if I can find that video. Okay, now. She said she had shared them, but they was doing that. They actually kicked it over there. This is last week.
I guess there's some sort of TikTok challenge. Anyhow, this guy came to a Hood News Pete's front door and kicked it in. He caused damages to the door. There's a traumatized family, and this guy is honestly lucky that he was not harmed. This happened over in the Cinco Ranch South Point subdivision. Can we please get a come on down?
So yeah, that's the video she was referring to. She posted this video a week ago. And this was in Texas too. And this is, as you can see, like I said, this the older kids. So this looks like a teenager holding his cell phone, recording himself, kicking in the door. Um, that people were saying somebody say that the door was unlocked. Well, the door was unlocked. He had no darn business kicking nobody's front door whatsoever. So this must be their house because they said the doors were locked. I don't know why I thought I was following me. He barely kicked the door and it pointed like the Red Sea. So yeah, this the homeowner right here whose door they kicked in. And I suppose this man been staying in his house and he filed off a shot when they kicked his door open. He was a little nutty. We would have had his picture up there saying he kicked somebody's door when he got hurt.
I guess there's some sort of TikTok challenge. Anyhow, this guy came to a Hood News Pete's front door and kicked it in. He caused damages to the door. There's a traumatized family, and this guy is honestly lucky that he was not harmed. This happened over in the Cinco Ranch South Point subdivision. Can we please get a come on down?
It's sad. But yeah, that's what she was referring. I just wanted to look that up because she referred to that video. And it video she put up about the guy in the 11-year-old. But yeah, that's what they doing at the. She had just posted, like she said, she had just posted that a week ago. Days after she posted that little boy got killed knocking on somebody's door. And yeah, he was running off when he got killed, which is the part that I can't wrap my head around. That this man stood in the bushes on the side of his house behind the gate, watched them knock, run off, followed them down the street, and then shot the gun off. That's what I can't get behind. That's the part that's perplexing to me. I mean, there's no defending his actions. I mean, we can put out there like, hey, he had PTSD, he was a veteran, but we don't know that man was diagnosed with PTSD. We don't know that. We don't know what his mind frame was. I'm not gonna speak to his mind frame or PTSD or none of that because there's no excuse in that man's behavior. At the end of the day, he needs to be charged, right? And he is charged rightfully so. Will they upgrade the charge? That's what the VA is seeking. Could it possibly downgrade? It could possibly downgrade it. We don't know, so everything starts to move through the legal system. As more comes out, I'll bring more of it. But as of right now, he's being booked into jail. The charge is murder. DA says he's looking to upgrade the charge. We'll know in the coming days when he go to court or when he goes to see what he's indicted on. We'll find out then once they indict him on whether it's gonna stay in murder, whether it's gonna upgrade to capital murder, whether it's gonna downgrade. We'll find out in the coming days and weeks ahead when everything starts to work its way through the legal system. But let's keep his Vegas family in your prayer. They have set up a GoFundMe to raise money. Let me see. precious 11-year-old Julian Guzman. This is the GoFundMe that the family has set up. They've already raised a little over $19,000. They have a $24,000 goal. Have 392 donations there, so they 79%, almost 8% on the way to their goal. And it's reading in Spanish. Okay. Okay, so we got it. I had to get it translated. I can't read Spanish. So the GoFundMe says, with immense pain in my heart, I share with you the loss of our son Julian. I can't believe it. It's a pain I never imagined I would feel. He was just a child. He never hurt anyone. He was affectionate, loving, always smiling. He was thoughtful with everyone. He was deeply loved by many people. My little boy, my baby, was taken from me at such a young age. We had a whole life ahead of us. He did deserve this. We will always love you. This isn't goodbye, but see you later. God wants you to be our protector, just as you were here on earth. I will forever love you, my boy. You're gone, but never forgotten. So that's the GoFundMe that the paid family set up. And this was created one day ago, and they've already raised over $19,000 in the GoFundMe. Like I said, I'll be back. When more comes out, I'll be back with it. And then there's more pictures of Jaden, just to show how small he was. He wasn't big at all. So this is a picture of him. So it's not like he was one of these kids that when they get 11, 12, they hit a growth spurt, hit their growth spurt, and they just big and tall and muscular. No, he was a little thin, a little small child. This is another picture. This baby was small. He wasn't big at all. This is Julian. This baby wasn't big. As you can clearly see, you can tell. Hold on. Get my screen stop sharing. Okay, here we go. This is Julian right here at the front. This baby was small. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't realize my screen was stop sharing. But this is Julian. This baby is small. He's not a big kid. Because somebody was gonna make the car. I saw a comment where somebody said kids are look a lot bigger. This baby looked at his age. He's very small, my friend. I mean, this. Okay, yeah, this is the area. This is the stop sign. So this is the area. I don't know exactly which home. I couldn't say. Let's see. Okay, so it's the gray house. Okay. So this is the house. This looks to be the house. But let me go back to make sure. So yeah, this looks to be the house. But let's keep going. So that looks to be the house, but from this angle I can't tell. So I don't want to say it's the house. But you can't really tell from that angle if it is or not. Yeah, we don't know. So you can't really tell. But yeah. So again, for the people that was trying to say, oh, he could have been big, the baby was small. He wasn't big at all. It's not big at all. Because people were saying they ran the block away. So I don't know. This may be the house, but I'm not sure. Maybe they're still because they're saying they ran off the porch and ran that way, and he stood. Okay, yeah, they said he was driving this, so he had come out of his yard. So I believe this is the house because they said a stop sign was in front of his house. Out of he's out of his driveway outside the stop sign. So I'm assuming they ran the doorbell and ran this way because they're saying he was stop sign. The kids was ran this way, and if they were running, he shot. So yeah, this is it. Now, okay, yeah. So this is the house. So yeah, he was it because they said he was at a stop sign. If he came from the side of the house, you can wait to this when they had the picture and see. But I just want to look at some pictures one more time. Okay, so I'm talking about which side he would have been hiding at. They said behind the fence on the side. So was he back this way high and came? Yeah, because it looked like the fence opens up right there. So I'm assuming he was back there. He came out from right here where it opens up there when they took off, right? From what I can figure happened. You look at the side of the house. Because this fence, if I'm not mistaken, goes around the house. So he either was around here, but if they saying he's behind the fence, I'm assuming he's on this side where it opens out at. And when they came out and ran that way, he came out behind them. And they were no longer in front of his house when he shot, from what I can gather from everything, what everything said. But I'm getting ready to get up off of here. Like I said, I'll be back. If I come across any more information or I see anything, or once he goes to trial, I'll be back with the information that I come up with. We're not going to try, but once they do the indictment, because they said they're in the process of trying to get the indictment. I don't know, y'all may not saw what I was just looking at. Let me go back real quick. So this is what I was looking at. Because they said he was shot by us. The guy was standing by a stop sign. So this is the house. This is the people. This is the doorbell. The door that him and his cousin knocked on. They took off running. They said he came out from inside his house behind the gate. If we look at these pictures, I'm going to assume he was behind this portion of the gate. I'm going to go to a different picture where you can see, because it looks like this part opens, because the fence goes all the way around the house. So I'm assuming he came through this part of the gate, because it looks like this part of the gate opens and you see hinges, or what looks to be maybe hinges. But they say he was behind the gate, so they ran this way, because this is the stop sign that people say he came out past that stop sign and shot. So either they came out and ran that way, or they came out and ran that way. But whatever the case, they were saying they were a whole block. Okay, so yeah, they ran that way because they said it was a whole block away. And he stood there, he came past the stop sign at the end of the street before he shot. And as you can see, they had all been taped off. But yeah, that's what I wanted y'all to see, because I don't know, I think my screen kept stop sharing. But yeah, that's the house where it happened at. But like I said, I'll be back with more once more comes out, because of course we know more gonna always come out. You know, as we know from these cases and everything else we've covered, it always comes out down the line and ends up coming out sooner or later. So we'll see what more details come out after this. Um, and again, this man was arrested at a hotel. Him and his family had packed up their car. They were at a hotel, had booked a 3-night stay at a hotel, and they were outside of the city. They were no longer in Houston. They had packed up their car and had went to a hotel. He was arrested at the hotel. He wasn't arrested at home. And see, even the police, the sergeant, the homicide sergeant that's investigating, he said the shooting does not appear to be self-defense because it wasn't close to the house. So again, he waited and allowed them to get away from the house. So you see, this is what I'm saying. You got neighbors saying that they knocked on their door and they shooed them away, and then one lady said told them she was gonna call the police. One neighbor said she was gonna call the police. If somebody had just went ahead and called the police and said, hey, these kids out here knocking on doors and pranking. Let's see, this is when they took him Saturday night. They took him into custody at the house. They called him out with the bullhorns and all of that. Took him to the police station and questioned him. At this point, there was no warrant for the murder. So he went back home. They packed their car up and they left. At that point, they had to go get him from the hotel. You see it, pal? Yep. But thank you all for tuning in. Everyone that tuned in, everyone that watches later on, thank you for watching. We've been another episode on True Crime Chronicles, Pursue the Truth, where we pursue the truth in these cases. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you. This is my husband. He's the other moderator of the channel, administrator on the channel. Maybe he'll go live one day. One day. But I'll see my face one day. But good night, y'all. Thanks for tuning in.